The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Monday, the beginning of a new week in the Rev. And as usual, things are moving along in Fall River. The campaign continues.
The campaign continues. And I'm not sure if you read the Weekend Flush. You usually do.
Yeah,
you usually do. But
I did.
One of the big things that I want to talk about first is Mark Sullivan. Mark Sullivan was the former director of the Citizens for Citizens organization. And Mark Sullivan passed away on Friday. And that's a great loss to the city.
Yeah.
Mark dedicated a good portion of his life to Citizens for Citizens, bringing preschool, Operation Christmas. Well, that was also with Barbara Travis. Home energy assistance programs, food banks. I mean, he did a lot of work with Citizens for Citizens, serving the poor. And he always bent over backwards to serve the poor. Little did people know that that organization was not only going to serve the poor, but it was actually going to serve the upper poor, the upper lower class, and the lower middle class.
That was a mouthful.
What was that?
No, I said that was a mouthful. The upper, lower, middle.
I know, exactly.
Well,
but I know you knew Mark personally.
Yeah, he was a very close friend. Actually, Mark and I had. He was a great guy. He really cared about the people. He was a pretty diverse guy. A lot of people didn't know that Mark actually worked in a coal mine for a while when he was in college.
Wow.
Mark had a he grew up and went to college and worked his way through college, worked in a coal mine. I used to ride motorcycles with Mark and Glenn Fitzgibbons for years, the three of us with other people sometimes attached, but always the three of us used to ride every weekend. And Mark was a very, very good friend. And, Mark was an old school guy. He was extremely liberal. Obviously, you look at all the things he did for the poor. He cared a lot about people. And obviously, he and I had some political views that were in conflict. But that was the great thing about Mark. Mark and I could sit down and argue for a half a day and then go out and ride a motorcycle, stop and grab a sandwich and stuff. There was never any, we dealt with issues and we dealt with facts and we had our positions, and he was a great guy. It's a tremendous loss to this community. He basically built Citizens for Citizens. He was the man who built it, and it's a great loss. And he was a great friend.
Yeah, and again, I mean, they've done so much, and they still do so much. I mean, their preschool program is amazing. That they're able to do that. I don't know if they have waiting lists or not, but people take advantage of it. And their preschool programs go as low as newborn, so that tells you how much they're doing. Now, I don't know if that's just glorified babysitting or what, but pre-K education is necessary and is important because kids learn to socialize and they learn to take control of their own education and their own social life. And I think it's important.
Yeah. Well, as another little thing I think a lot of people don't know is Mark actually taught at Bristol Community College.
Ah.
He taught economics.
Okay.
At Bristol Community College.
Isn't that funny? A liberal teaching economics.
Yeah. And, he was, as I said, very, very bright guy. And he did a lot of things in his life. He taught at Bristol Community College. But when Citizens for Citizens was in its incipiency, he took that program and he was the guy. I believe he may have been the first director of Citizens for Citizens, and he stayed there for a very, very long time and did an awful lot of good.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awful lot of good.
And you know, it's a great loss for the city of Fall River. You know, it tells me that I'm getting old, and I may not be far behind.
Yeah, but you know, when we talk about guys like Mark, guys like Lenny Kaplan, and the losses we've had recently with some of these people, how much they, they worked within the city to try to do something, and you know, we knew them well, but it was a different era then. You could work with people who you had some differences with for the greater good. But today, it's not possible. It seems in politics, you're either they want to cancel you, they want to call you names and label you if you have a different opinion. Everybody's a white supremacist and stuff. That's unfortunately why I think this country is in such chaos, that we've lost that ability to work together for the greater good. And those guys. And I know you and Lenny and I, and we had different opinions on things, and we've never been bashful to express those opinions. But it's unfortunate that we can't get to the position again where we can put our political differences aside to work for the greater good.
And again, debate. There's nothing wrong with debate.
No.
I mean, as you've always said on this show, someone has a thesis, somebody has an antithesis, and you bring them together and you get a synthesis. You develop a solution. And I think that's important that we remember that. And it's very important. And I think people like Mark Sullivan and Lenny Kaplan and so many others have done that and have made that work. So why something that's been the time true way of making things work isn't being utilized is scary to me.
Yeah, and if you really want to see that thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, go and read Hegel's dialectic theory of materialism, because he's the guy that developed that particular thing. And but like you said, that's the key. The key is there's no progress without debate, because that's what these people seem to lose in today's politics. That all they do is sling mud, cancel, want to ostracize, even murder people. That people advocated to killing people with different opinions. I mean, when college professors say it's okay to kill a conservative or somebody who likes Donald Trump, there's something radically wrong with this country. When you advocate the murder of somebody else because they have a different political opinion, there's something wrong with the society. And therein lies the problem, that people don't understand, that's how society evolves. Everybody marches in lockstep. It's the goose step, like in Nazi Germany. Everybody can't be like lemmings. You need a different opinion. Maybe that opinion isn't right, but then again, maybe your opinion isn't 100% right. That's how we move forward. You have spirited debate, you have disagreements, and then you get a synthesis out of it. Maybe in between somewhere lies something that we can move ahead. And that's the part that's sad. And I see that, and obviously it'll segue us into what's going on in politics, but that's missing. And Mark Sullivan was a guy who could do that. He could disagree with you and understand that if we were working together for the greater good, we were, we would never talk politics when we were riding motorcycles. We were too busy having too much fun. So rest in peace, Mark.
Yes. And again, it's a sad loss for Fall River. You brought up something about people not looking at things right. A situation occurred over the weekend where I guess 3 minors at New Boston Bakery destroyed or took apart a pumpkin display, and it was caught on video. And the video was made public. And a school committee candidate made it very clear that she felt that it was wrong to publish the pictures of these children because, number one, they were scantily clad, and number two, they could be placed in danger by doing that. We live in a society where we have cameras everywhere. And if you're going to do something wrong, you can believe you're going to get caught on camera. There's no question about that. So why is it wrong? Because it was a child? Well, they did wrong. And how can you bring them to accountability? Here's what this school committee candidate said. You can go to the schools and present the picture and have the schools identify them. No, you can't. No, you can't. Because there's a Student Privacy Act. You cannot be violating the Student Privacy Act. You as a future school committee member need to realize that. The police can go in and ask, but you have to be sure that you're not violating the Student Privacy Act. And if they're scantily clad, well, that's something a parent needs to address.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion is, while people may feel that it's wrong to publish that, I believe that the only way to hold people accountable is to let them know that they're being watched and that there's a possibility that their pictures will appear.
Well, my opinion is there's one person's not going to get my vote. Look, I'm tired of this woke stuff. Looking for a reason to condone and cover up illegal acts. They destroyed property. They were destroying somebody's property.
Right.
Nobody can see that anymore. It's always about the wokies. You know, let's protect the criminals. We allow people to run amok in the streets in Portland and in Seattle and murder people. And we got people who are walking around the Capitol building taking selfies, still in solitary confinement. Why? Because now all the film has been released about that Capitol. They showed federal agents dressed in black breaking in. There were more FBI agents. They arrested an FBI agent that was undercover promoting that kind of stuff. They politicize everything, and it's always about protecting the criminals and crapping all over the police and everybody else. The order in this society is upside down. There's no order. You know, you want to go turn it into the school. But I can tell you one thing. If that person had a Trump hat on, that person would have wanted it all over every social platform and media outlet in the world. See,
right.
That's the problem. There's a double standard here. That's the problem. Because they destroyed property. And you know something? It should have been turned immediately over to the police. Trying to circumvent the police and then call them in and do what? Say, oh, you shouldn't do that again, Johnny. Next time, go to the cemetery and tip over headstones or something. Do something, pull down a statue. Go throw a bottle at a cop. This is what we've evolved to or devolved to. This is absolutely tragic. And it's an indication of how bad this society has deteriorated. There's no order. And
Correct.
That's ridiculous. So There's one person's not going to get my vote, and I'll say it on, and I don't even know who we're talking about right now. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to find out, and I want to make sure I don't put a little dot next to that name.
There you go. And that's your right. That's what the ballot box is all about.
Yeah, and I'll tell you now, it won't be a secret ballot when it comes to that one. Because I'll say it right here.
I know you will.
Because we don't pull any punches, and I know that we will call. I mean, Friday's show caused a lot of little backlash at first, and I know that we're going to get into that at some point in time. But let's finish this topic. So,
yeah. Well, I think that these children need to be held accountable in whatever fashion is necessary. And again, you cannot blame the businesses for having video cameras in place to protect their assets. That's what this was. But remember, it's not only businesses doing this. It is people's homes. You go, there's a lot of homes you go by, you see cameras on them. People protecting their cars, they're protecting their property. people are afraid, and what's happened in our society has created this fear. So it makes it difficult. So
Yeah, it does. Well, I guess, Friday's show, we talked about the deficit, the budget, the opera money, and I guess we had a flurry of people pro mayor talking about it wasn't the mayor's budget and it wasn't. Well, let me just clarify that for them. If you really want a civics lesson, pick up a civics book. They don't teach it anymore in school, but I'm sure there's some around. You can go to the public library and get a civics book, figure out how governments work, because that was the mayor's. As a matter of fact, that was the budget that was all the mayors, and it was unprecedented in the history of this city because the city council had zero input into that budget. He waited that 45 days and he rammed it down their throats, and it was his budget. And just so you remember, and if you really want to, for a nominal fee, CJ and I'll give you a civics lesson. The mayor proposes, the city council disposes. They can make suggestions and they can make cuts, but they dispose of a mayor's. Every single budget that's ever passed is the mayor's budget. It may have some changes because they worked together with the council on issues. But the reality is, it is the mayor of the city of Fall River's budget. The city council does not sign collective bargaining agreements. They approve the money. They dispose. So for all you people who are deficient in how a government works, like AOC didn't know the three branches of government, yet she's one of the most popular liberal progressives. And I don't know how she got through college. I just don't know how you could get through college today and not know the three branches of government, and you're serving in Congress. That should be like an automatic expulsion. They should just go in there with a giant hook like they used to do on a gong show and yank her right off the floor. Yank her right off the floor with a giant hook, because people that stupid should not be making laws.
Well, isn't the three branches of government Chili's, Applebee's, and TGI Fridays?
Yeah. See? You know that, CJ. AOC didn't, but it's that's one of the things that's how they control people. Remember, there's two ways to control people: with violence and with stupidity. Just remember, this is one of the way. What did the Nazis do when they took over Germany? They burnt the books. What do all tyrannical governments do when they take over a government? They incarcerate the intellectuals and they make everybody stupid. Actually, we had a little thing just in case they probably haven't studied history either. By the way, so you progressives that don't want to know about history, it's because you don't want to learn anything.
Or they want to repeat it.
Go get a Western civilizations book and read about the Dark Ages. What do you think the Dark Ages were? It was like they made everybody stupid. Nobody could read and write except the priests. That way the church could control the people. Then they had a little thing called the Inquisition, where anybody who did try to learn anything, they executed. So this was the Dark Ages, and nothing really progressed during that era, because this is what they do. And but the problem is, it looks like we've evolved or devolved again. I have to find out. I think it's really we've devolved, and to a point where they actually applaud stupidity. Like don't learn history, don't know what you're talking about, and just say it, and it's okay, because we know what we'll do. We'll all say, yeah, that's right. They're right. And if anybody actually speaks the truth, they cancel them. They call them a white supremacist or a radical or whatever they want to. They project their true feelings on other people, and they just try to eliminate you from the debate. So, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Infuriates me.
Well, as soon as you mentioned the Inquisition, I went, the Inquisition.
Yeah. No, that guy was a great satirist. I'll tell you, he could make anything into a satire. He did that one of World War II. Remember the?
Yep.
Yeah, and with the Hitler, but yeah, it's too bad because we see this today. Always making excuses. It's not his budget. Yes, it is his budget. So it's always a mayor's budget because the mayor proposes. It's his budget. Granted, it's not the way it should work. We're supposed to work together, but they don't. Just look at Washington. The Democrats can't work with each other, let alone the Republicans.
And remember, when this mayor ran for office, he said that he wants to get into office to heal the city, to bring the city together. Yet, so far, all he's been is divisive. He's not trying to bring the city together. And, I mean, we know this direct because his office stopped sending people his press releases because they weren't nice to him. They didn't agree with him. They had different opinions. And so they were cut out.
Yeah. No,
and that's not, that's not bringing people together. That's creating a divisive, narrative and a divisive situation. And that's a problem.
Well, and he still hasn't figured out that the people that he's not sending the information to get it anyway.
Right.
Whether he likes it or not, then he gets upset. But you're right. But you know what I said? That's why I call him mini Joe Biden, because that's what Joe Biden. Remember Joe Biden? I'm going to, there's going to be adults in the room now. We're going to heal everything. And he's divided this country more than any other president in the history of this country. I mean, we've got two separate countries now. I mean, we have the people who, we have those. Well, now the independence, his popularity has plummeted. He's in the 30s now. For the independents have turned on him because they didn't expect open borders. There's another 500,000 illegals coming over. So what's their answer to it? You have to wear a mask. You have to be vaccinated. You can't keep your job if you don't get vaccinated, even though you worked for, like the nurses being fired through the entire pandemic. You have no choice. We have a tyrannical, dictatorial society, except for illegals. Illegals come in, they give them a choice. And it was on TV.
Right.
The director of Homeland Security said they're given a choice. You want it? No, you don't want it. And half of them aren't checked. And we got another 500,000 coming in, because that's what they want. They look at them as democratic voters. They don't care. A nation has to have borders. That's what makes it a nation. But they don't want that. They want a world order. They don't want to have countries. They want to have a giant socialistic. Try to get into China if they don't want you. You know what you're going to be? You're going to be an organ donor very quickly. They're going to throw you in with the Uyghurs and they're going to start harvesting your organs. But, every other country, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, they've all stopped immigration because it destroyed Europe. Sweden used to be the safest country in the world, or one of the safest countries in the world. They allowed unfettered immigration. Now it's one of the most dangerous countries in Europe. So you can't have borders, that are open. You have to background check people, especially now. I mean, look at them. This administration it's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. They trusted the Taliban that was run by people that they left out of Gitmo. Yeah, they were very professional. And now they've told women they can no longer hold office. They're doing public beheadings and hangings. They're back to the Stone Age Sharia law that they lived under before. So much for their brilliant idea. There are people who are so barbaric, you just can't talk to them. And as they say, sometimes you got to know the difference between when it's time to negotiate and when it's time to pull the trigger. And it was time to pull the trigger, and they tried to negotiate with people you can't negotiate with. And 13 American service members are dead now because of that incompetency. And it's incompetency everywhere. Inflation at the gas pumps. You go and buy anything, it's 3 times the price You go out, you shop. It's like you look at the price, you go, holy crap, this is like twice as much as it was a couple of months ago. We're all paying the price of their incompetency.
Well, what's interesting is you mentioned that about groceries. I went grocery shopping on Saturday, and I was in a local grocery store in Somerset. You know the one.
I know that.
And I wanted to buy some freshly sliced deli turkey. 1 pound of freshly sliced deli turkey. I almost had a heart attack. $9.89. 1 pound. I said, forget that. I went over to the cooler, picked up the prepackaged turkey. Tastes just as good, and it was $2.99. I was quite happy with that. Granted, it was a little thinner than I like, but you know what? It works. It works. But I couldn't believe that. And I'm looking at gas prices all around the city, and they're all over the place. $2.85, $2.89, $2.91, $2.99, $3.05, $3.06. I mean, there's no set price anywhere that's kind of like in the same ballpark. And what do? I mean, it's getting to the point where our rents are up through the roof, okay? $1,300 to $1,800 for a 3-bedroom. Our groceries are through the roof. Our utilities are getting higher. Automobile gas is getting higher. Diesel fuel is getting higher. And they're screaming that we have a supply chain shortage and breakdown, and that's why these prices are so high. The problem is these prices are so high, people aren't going to be able to live. I drove by St. Anne's Church on Saturday morning, and when I did, I saw a line of people going down and around the corner for the food pantry. For the food pantry they have there. That's how many people have food insecurity. I see at the Fall River Food Bank on Nashua Street every Thursday a line of people competing, literally competing to get in line to get some food. This is what's happening. We're becoming a nation. It's almost become like old communist Russia, when because the shelves are empty in the markets. The shelves are empty. You go in and you find a loaf of bread and you grab it. That's how it used to be in Russia. Is that how it's going to be in the United States? Are we going to get to that point?
Looks like it. But before I know we're getting close, but we got to mention this. I think we'll be back in the studio Wednesday, hopefully at 10 o'clock.
Correct.
But I want to talk about, because we got up, we talked about some stuff I think is very relevant, but we want to talk about something that you and I were discussing, that Michelle Dion went down to clarify some stuff, and she had some documentation, and somebody gave a heads up to her antagonist, Pat Casey, I guess, and she didn't show up. So I think Wednesday's show, you guys can look forward to that. We're going to get the details on this stuff, and I think it's noteworthy because you only get that little snapshot of that argument. I think it needs to be thoroughly explained to the viewers, because they only see what happened in there, and then you get back and forth, and it's cut off by the end of the debate, and you don't actually know what the whole story was. And Wednesday, I think we're gonna try to bring you the whole story on that issue.
Sans anything else happening in the city, because you know how Fall River is.
Yeah, of course. Everything is subject to change in the city of Fall River. We know
that. Exactly. It's always a new day in Fall River. So, as you said, we are going to be trying to get back into our studio on Wednesday. So, if there is a problem, I'm saying if there is a problem with our YouTube feed, the show will be posted at some point during the day, but I'm hoping that we're going to solve the YouTube problem before the show goes on the air. So hopefully we make it work. Okay. Well, with that, I want to thank you all for watching. It's always great to be with you. It's great to spend some time with you and be invited into your living room. Have a great day. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching.